Mark, please tell us a bit of what you've been doing these past 4 James Bond films. How did that come together? How did you end up driving these beautiful cars?
Yeah, well, how I got involved in Bond, it started with a phone call for Quantum of Solace. There was a scene where the car was coming down on the gravel, and my background is rallying. So a good friend of mine, Ben Collins, asked me, would I be interested in doing this? Which I thought was a bit of a joke at the time, really. I'd never worked on a film in my life, and then suddenly I'm working on a Bond film. So we went to Italy for pretty well 3 months, and that's how I started my film career. We then moved on to Skyfall, which was my next Bond film. I'd done some other films in between, and we had the car chase with a train with Naomi Harris. So I helped on that side of it. And then I suppose I got promoted to Bond on Spectre when we drove the DB10 with that lovely chase through Rome in that fantastic car, which was a one-off. And now No Time to Die in the great DB5.
What are you allowed to tell us so far about No Time to Die? With all the secrecy surrounding this much anticipated movie.
Yeah, this has been really hard to keep everything secret for the last 2 years. I mean, it was actually 2 years ago we were filming in Matera in Italy for it. So yeah, there's been quite a bit shown already, so I can talk about those parts. And it was a great chase in a beautiful town in Matera. Quite a challenging location because of the grip, the surface, and the sort of cobbles we were working on. But we had the DB5 stunt car built for this, which was a modified, or built specifically for the film. And that allowed us to really play with the car to reproduce the scenes we did several times. And I'm hoping when the film comes out, because I've no idea, it's going to be a really good film, and it's looking that way at the moment.
And how do they make you James Bond in those scenes? What do you need to do and look like? And
What do I need to look like, James Bond? A miracle or a magician? It's very, very clever now. We have face replacement. So you'll often see the actors, or the stunt guys with dots on their face, which helps them replace the face. I mean, Daniel will drive the car when he can, so a lot of the stuff is visually Daniel. And then for the external shots where it's not really necessary to see the driver, we get the chance to do our bit in the car.
how good of a driver is Daniel Craig?
Yeah, Daniel's good. Yeah, he got involved quite a bit in the film. There's a couple of scenes he does himself, and it's a lot easier for the film if they can use the actor. They haven't then got to replace my face. So he likes to drive. He's a keen enthusiast of cars, and we always do some training with him beforehand, so he gets a chance to drive the actual cars we're going to be using. So when possible, great. But when he's obviously busy doing his lines or has other things to do, that allows us to do our job.
Obviously, for us on the outside, being a stunt driver on a James Bond film, this got much more exciting. So how exciting is it really, and how much is let's say, hard work that can sometimes be, I mean, with the heat and everything, exhausting?
There's often a lot of pressure involved. You're working with a team of potentially 200 people, and we are a very small part of that team. We work closely with our stunt coordinator who directs what we do. We have the other guys, you know, often in a car scene, there's not just one vehicle involved. There's the other cars chasing, or, you know, we're avoiding the people walking across the road, the camera departments. So the whole Bond thing is very much a family. It's the same people who've been working on the Bond films since I've started. And some of those guys go right the way back to very near the beginning. So the pressures are different. Sometimes just driving the car is the easy part. It's then when you throw the cameras on the car and you throw the people here and so forth, it just creates a different element of it, which is where you get a good buzz. My background is motorsport, so this is very, very different to that, but still a challenge. And you never stop learning. And there's also always something different thrown in. And when you're having to wear a suit in a hot car and hot environment, there's always different challenges. So it's good, and it makes it interesting.
Do you get to actually practice these scenes, or does it have to work right away?
No, we'll always do preparation beforehand. We need to test the cars, for one, to make sure they're going to be up to the spec we need for the scenes. Our coordinator, who was Lee Morrison on this one, he has all the information of what we're actually doing. So, for example, we'll go to a venue like here, like at Stowe. We'd mark off the road to the exact dimensions and then replicate the scene here. So when we actually do go to set, we're not wasting the time of camera, which is obviously very expensive. So we can go straight at it and hopefully get it done.
And what can you tell us about the cars? you actually used in this film? The ones that you drove?
Well, we get to drive all of the cars. That one there is a classic original DB5, but for repeatability and making the cars work all the time the same, they built the. It's not a replica. It's a piece of art. It's a beautiful car. This is the stunt car. It's all carbon fibre, so it's a lot lighter. The modern transmission and engine and gearbox, so it's very reliable. And we worked with a team. We tested these beforehand, and that was as enjoyable for me as actually driving in the film, just working with the guys in the cars. So they ended up with this fantastic car, which you know, I smile every time I drive it still now.
Which scene of the new film was for you the most challenging, the most demanding?
It's really hard to say, and until I see the film, it's I probably don't know, because there's certain parts we've seen on the trailer. There's a part where we get impacted. There's a few parts where we're coming down some pretty tricky sections. So often what appears to be the difficult scene is not. There's different aspects of it because of where the cameras are and where people are and what's going on. Sometimes you're driving very closely behind a car and you've got no vision whatsoever. So that potentially is more challenging than doing a clean jump. So let's wait till the film comes out.
And how much can you as a professional exclude the danger?
I think excluding the danger is done as a team, and that's part of what goes on with the rehearsal, our coordinator, and safety is key in everything now. We've got safety crews around us. The cars are built very safe. So I think coming forward from where it was 20 years ago, it's a massive step forward. And that's why we do rehearse with all the guys and all the people around us. And generally, you're driving within a percentage of maximum.
Which is your own favorite, which is your favorite James Bond car so far, and why?
Well, my favourite James Bond car probably was the DB10 originally, because it was a one-off build and it was a very special car. But I think the most iconic and beautiful car is still the DB5. And to have one that does what that particular one does is, yeah, I'd be very happy to have that on my drive.